Welcome to an edition of Emerging Civil War News. I'm Chris Mackowski, and joining me from the top of Mount McGregor is my friend Ben Kemp, Operations Director at Grant Cottage. Ben, how are you?
Good, good. And I really am on the top. I'm on the second floor of the cottage right now.
That's behind the scenes right
That's
there.
right.
Yeah. So, you guys at Grant Cottage have a unique opportunity that requires a pretty quick mobilization, and you're looking for some help. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, we there are some times when artifacts are just not known to exist until they come up for auction, and that happened recently this year, back in March. Originally, an item was offered at auction that was identified as the flag, a silk flag that draped the coffin or casket, I should say, of U.S. Grant here at Grant Cottage while he was lying in repose. Not lying in state, he was not in a state building, but he was lying in repose here for a number of days before they brought him down to New York City. And during that time, this flag was the one that laid across his casket when he was not being viewed, when the remains were not being viewed. And so the original auction price was significant, and it really apparently was significant enough that there was no bids on it. So it has come back to auction. It will be auctioned off tomorrow. And the Friends of Grant Cottage, the nonprofit that operates this site on behalf of the State Parks Department, is very interested in acquiring it now that the auction price has come down, or hopefully it has come down. And so to a level that is manageable, hopefully. And so that is why we really want to bring it back to the collection. We think it does fit here, fits in the collection policy. So, and it's just it's a powerful piece for a few reasons. I think it's a powerful piece, both for historic preservation because it, captures that moment in time when Grant is here after his death, when his family's still here and the veterans are surrounding the site and they're literally guarding this casket 24 hours a day in the parlor of the cottage. And here, this flag is there for that entire time. And of course, it has that incredible patriotic connotation. It has 38 stars, which is appropriate to the number of states in 1885. And flags, again, as they are today, are such a powerful symbol, both of national pride, but also in this case of national mourning. And that's what I think connects it so deeply to the story that we tell here at Grant Cottage, and why we're very interested in bringing it into the public collection here, so that it can be displayed publicly.
And just to provide some context for viewers, Ben and I are recording this on Thursday, July 30th. So when he says tomorrow, we're talking Friday, July 31st. So that's the urgency that I had mentioned earlier where this is going to come up. And what's it require for you, Ben, to get enough ducks in a row to even be able to bid on this? Because certainly as a state site, there are wheels that have to get moved, and as a friends organization, you guys are really dependent on the kindness of volunteers and donors. Tell me how this can all come together.
Yes, well, again, if you're viewing this later than Friday the 31st, that's okay. We're always accepting donations, of course, to help us with our mission. But we also will, if we acquire it, there will also potentially be some costs associated with, conservation of the piece and things like that, so we can get it prepared for the public. So that's, potentially something that people can help support us with as well if we acquire it. But in order to acquire it, again, the more pledges of donation that we receive, right now we're not taking direct donations, we're taking pledges. So if you want to, you could send us a email at ben at Grant Cottage, all one word, .org. And so that's how, if somebody wants to make a financial commitment, a pledge to help us acquire this, then we will, that's all you need to do is send the amount that you are comfortable in pledging, and then later on we'll follow up on those pledges. So that gives us an idea of what we're able to do financially in terms of the auction as it happens on Friday. But again, we're always taking donations as a nonprofit in a general sense as well.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that we include that information in the blog post that goes along with this. And I will just back up Ben if it sounds like, oh, Ben at such and such. It's an authentic, legit source. This is not Ben earning money for his vacation. This is a legitimate endeavor. Um, so. Ben, when this came up, you saw this opportunity to bring something into the collection that was so meaningful, and it really complements the story that you guys tell. For folks who are not familiar with Grant Cottage, and I welcome you guys to visit the website. But to tell us quickly, what does Grant Cottage do? Where are you guys at? What's your mission?
Yeah, so at the end of U.S. Grant's life, he was struggling with throat cancer and he was dealing with serious financial troubles. And so he decided to write his memoirs. And they were living in New York City at the time, but with his health deteriorating due to throat cancer, the physicians brought him up to a mountain just north of Saratoga Springs in upstate New York. Mountain called Mount McGregor, and there was a resort here at the time, a Victorian resort. And Grant is accommodated with his family here at this cottage building. And he spends the last about 6 weeks of his life here trying to complete his memoirs while dealing with the significant pain of his cancer. And he's basically lays his pencil down less than a week before he dies, and he completes his memoirs, which of course helped take care of his family. So it's an incredibly compelling story about a very well-known figure, but again, we see him in a different light here. It's a real character study. But also a very relatable experience, an individual dying of a terminal illness, just trying to take care of his family. And I think that's part of the story that makes this place so special. We remember an individual that contributed so much to our country, but at the same time, we get to see him at this very vulnerable moment, taking care of his family. So we run tours all the way from May through October here. And you can find more information on our website about the different programming we do as well. Chris has been up here himself, and we need to get him back up here again because we like to have authors and other presenters, living history presenters, music. So we're trying to have a good programming for the public throughout our season. And we do all that as the nonprofit. We operate all the day-to-day operations to run the museum. The Friends of Grant Cottage do. And again, it's a very special place, very well preserved. The folks that let Grant come here with his family during his illness also left it as a memorial with all his personal belongings left behind, medicine, clothing, funeral flowers, all this stuff is very incredibly evocative. It's original from 1885, 141-year-old artifacts, just the way they were left in the summer of 1885. So and to add to this, the cherry on top is we're on the top of a mountain, so we have a beautiful view of the Upper Hudson Valley, a stunning view. And we're about a week from now, we will probably have completed a fully accessible trail to that we've been working on for a few years. So that's going to allow everybody to get down there, just as Grant did a few days before his death. They wheeled him down there to see this beautiful view of the valley. So we have quite a bit to offer the public up here.
Yeah, and I will admit it's been one of the great professional privileges of my career to have developed such a special relationship with Grant Cottage over the years. It's just an extraordinary site and one of my very favorite places. So, Ben, best of luck as the auction comes up next week. Tomorrow, excuse me. We'll check in with you next week to see how things work out. Fingers crossed for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all the support and everything that Emerging Civil War does to preserve history and interpret history for the public. Thanks so much, Chris.
Well, thanks for being a great friend and partner. I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War News, along with Ben Kemp. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you online and on the battlefield.